Hello, chemistry students. This is Professor McMahon. This is Chapter 3, Lecture 7, and we're finishing up on naming compounds and the different rules. Today's lecture will be naming polyatomic ions and how to derive their name from a simple trick that I'd like you to use. It's not mandatory, but here we go. So, polyatomic ions, what is it? So when you have two or more atoms that are bound covalently and they have a charge. So typically what happens is you can have some atoms combining covalently. So you'll have a nonmetal with a nonmetal, and they'll basically have an extra electron to keep them stable. So I'll give you an example. Hydrogen has one electron. Sulfur has 6 valence electrons. That's why it's group 6A. Now, these two can bind, so this electron and this electron can be shared, and that's a bond. That's a covalent bond because these two are nonmetal with nonmetal. If I get an additional electron, now the sulfide or the sulfur has 2, 4, 6, and then with the bond 8. Hydrogen's happy because it has 2 electrons. It only wants 2 electrons like helium. Sulfur is happy because it has on its outer shell an octet like argon, and it has 8 valence electrons. However, I had to give it this extra electron right here. So this is how you write it. And how do I name that? I can't name it the sulfide ion, and it's not hydrosulfuric acid. That was this. Okay, so how do I name this? This is the hydrogen sulfide ion because hydrogen's attached to a sulfide. Why is it a -1? Well, we gained 1 electron, but you can think of it this way. Sulfide's a 2-, and remember, the hydrogen can form a +1. +1 minus 2 would leave me with a -1. So, and I know this looks like an extensive list. Trust me, this is not. It is far more extensive than this. And as you move forward, you'll see in 151 and other classes, you're going to have to know more than these. For right now, I'm hoping you're familiar with these. If you're not, it's okay. But these are polyatomic ions you do have to memorize. Okay, so ammonium for people is not too bad because they know NH3 is ammonia. I'm just adding another hydrogen and a positive charge. So the positive charge, it ends in -ium, like group 1A elements like sodium, lithium. So a lot of times students don't have a problem with the ammonium. They either already know it or they're just comfortable deriving it that way. The hydroxide, well, what do you have? You have a hydrogen and an oxygen. Well, why is it a -1? Remember, the oxide ion's a 2-, and the hydrogen ion is a +1. 1 minus 2 would give me a -1. It's hydroxide. Okay. The cyanide's a little trickier. Okay, but you do need to know that. And then the acetate. Now, if you have any biology background, you may have seen this written as a CH3COO-. That gives it structural information. So that's the acetate ion as well. In general chemistry, we just use a molecular formula context, so we don't write it based on structure, okay? So there is a little bit of memorizing. Unfortunately, with naming compounds, there is. It's not all math, okay? There's some memorization, there's some theories, and this is an example where you're gonna have to memorize these. Now, these aren't the only ones, okay? But these in blue, you definitely need to know. And I'm going to show you how you can derive these. So you can see that this is kind of a 4-member. And what I mean by 4-member, you have chlorine and oxygen in some number, okay? This is a 2-member. What does that mean? I have sulfur and oxygen in some number. Same here. I have a two-member family. Okay. So these polyatomic ions, they might have the same non-metal, but they have different numbers of oxygen, and that is going to give it a different name, whether it's an 8 or an 9. Okay. And there's 5 really important ones I need you to know. Okay. Now, again, we just said, I don't really have a trick for the cyanide, the hydroxide. I don't really have a trick for the acetate or the ammonium, although we kind of went through that. But those aren't the only ones you need to memorize, okay? This is just a small portion, okay? So with polyatomic ions, our focus is the oxyanion. And the reason why it's an oxyanion, it's a negatively charged polyatomic ion. So it basically is going to have a non-metal with oxygen and some charge. So there are what I call families. There's the 2 or 4. I had emphasized that earlier. So here I have a 2-member family. I have nitrogen, and then I have attached to that oxygens, right? Because it's an oxyanion, but there's 2 different types. And we're going to see that was the ite ending in the 8. Okay. Now I could have a 4-member, and these are a little more complicated because I can have a hypo prefix and then an ite suffix. I could just have the ite suffix. I could just have the 8 suffix, or I could have the per prefix and the 8 suffix in this 4-membered family. So how am I going to remember all these rules? Well, I tell students, immediately you need to know these 5 non-metal, I call them the 5 big 8s. If you learn these, all the other ones will come in place, whether it's a 2-member or 4-member, because it builds on this foundation, okay? So this is what I want you to look at. We know that these 8 ions, the names derive from the non-metal, and then it's going to have, on top of the non-metal, a certain amount of oxygen, okay? And if it ends in 8 and it's attached to a non-metal, it's going to be 3 or 4 oxygens, okay? So phosphate, that's derived from phosphorus, and then it's going to have 3 or 4 oxygens. I'll get back to that. Sulfate, sulfur, 3 or 4 oxygens. Chlorate, chlorine, 3 or 4. Carbonate, carbon. So we can see I'm taking phosphorus, adding the 8, carbon, adding the 8, sulfur, adding the 8, chlorine, adding the 8, nitrate. There you go. And what I want you to do is right now take a periodic table out, okay? Grab your periodic table. If you need to, pause this. Grab a periodic table that you can write on, get a pen, and I want you to draw this 4 right on that periodic table. Because if it's on the 4, guess how many oxygens it has? 4. If it's not on that 4, guess how many it has? 3. So when I look, phosphate, is phosphorus on this 4? It is. So it means it has 4. Sulfur, is it on the 4? It is. Chlorine, is it? Nope. So it has 3. Nitrogen, nope. So it has 3. Carbon, nope. It has 3. So this can help you beyond that list that I showed you. I mean, you can derive way more ions this way, okay, which will be very helpful if you go on to your second semester general chemistry. Now let's do the charges. These are polyatomic ions. So we're looking at the polyatomics, we're not looking at the monoatomic ides like chloride. The way the ides work, 7A is a -1, 6A would be a -2, this is -3, this is +4, -4, and then this is actually a +3. So we're not using that. That's the ide. We're using the 8, which are polyatomics. And it's very similar. -1, -2, -3, with the exception of nitrate. Then it gets weird. It goes -2, -3. So what does that mean? Carbonate, okay, it's not a +4 or negative, it's a -2. Phosphate's like phosphide, it's a -3. Sulfate's like sulfide, it's a -2. Chlorate's like chloride, -1. Nitrate's weird. It's not a -3, it's a -1. So again, you could use the trick of the 4, or if you don't like the 4, that's fine. You have to memorize these 5. That's pretty much, there's no way of getting out of that. Why? Because we need to know more than this 5. And the sooner you learn this 5, and you can look at our prior lectures when we were calculating molar mass for like barium nitrate, right? Remember we were doing that? Well, now you're going to be like, all right, barium, it's group 2, 2+. Nitrate, NO3 minus crisscross. Now you have the correct formula because you know what nitrate is. And now you can calculate the molar mass by using the average atomic mass on the periodic table for each element and summing it up. So if you don't know the name, then you're not going to be able to do this. Okay? So in my opinion, the easiest way is draw that 4. Okay? If you draw that 4, you know, you're set. All right? You're set. Now there's some that are on here that I don't emphasize as much, like the chromate, the dichromate, the permanganate. You're going to see that. That's going to build. You'll be seeing that a lot in second semester. But the ites and the perates and the hypoites, you still need to know. So if you know if it's a 2-member or 4-member family, if you know the 8s, then the rest can follow. So one example, right? If I look, why is this hydrogen sulfate? Well, sulfate, right? Remember the 8s. Sulfate is sulfur and oxygen. Does it have 4 or 3? You look on the 4, it has 4. This is sulfate. If I add a hydrogen ion, I get this. That's hydrogen sulfate or bisulfate. Just like for the sulfite, if I add a hydrogen, it's hydrogen sulfite. Just like carbonate, one of the 5 big 8s I told you. If you add a hydrogen, hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate. That's why those 5 8s are critical. So to review the families, the ite is 1 less, the 8 is where we're deriving it. Now, which ones have this? I'll give you an example. So if you use the 4 that we just talked about, you'll realize that this is sulfate because the sulfur is on that 4. This is phosphate because the phosphorus is on that 4. So it has 4 oxygen. The sulfur is on the 4. It has 4 oxygen. So what is this? These are 1 less. That's sulfite because it's 1 less than sulfate. So this is why you need to know the 5 big 8s, because once you know sulfate, sulfite. Once you know phosphate, 1 less, phosphite. Same thing with the 4-member. This is chlorate. How do I know? I drew the 4. The chlorine's not on the 4. It's got 3. So the 8 ion for chlorate has 3. 1 less. Ite. We learned that in the 2-member. But now we're going to do 2 less. So we can't just call it chlorite because that's already been taken. Now you add the hypo prefix. Now instead of doing less, we do more per. So now it's 8, but it's 1 more than the 8. So you add the per. And you've seen this. I'll give you an example. This is hydrogen peroxide. Why is that? Because there's 1 more oxygen. So you have the per prefix. So go ahead and pause. You should be able to kind of work on this and figure this out. Once you've written it all out, we'll do it together. All right, I'm going to assume that you paused, you worked on this, and now we're going to do this. Okay, so this is ionic. How do I know? Sodium is a metal. It's a +1 charge. There's two of them. So this CO3 polyatomic ion has a 2-. What is that? That's my carbonate. That was one of the 5 big 8s I said you needed to know. Okay? Magnesium hydroxide. This is a little trickier. Magnesium, 2+. The hydroxide's one you have to memorize. This is a little bit easier than like acetate, for example. It's hydrogen and an oxide, MgHO2, crisscross applesauce, MgOH2. Potassium nitrate, potassium. Nitrate, that's nitrogen, but it's not nitride, right? Because nitride's N3-, it's monoatomic. The 8 means it's an oxyanion, one of the 5 big non-metal 8s, right? The polyatomic oxyanions. It's going to have 3 or 4. If you look on the periodic table, it's not on the 4. It has 3, and its charge is the exception. It's a -1. It's a 1-to-1 mole ratio. So this PO4 3- is my phosphate. Why am I writing this one out before this? Well, CO, if you look, is in group 9. And when you look at group 9, that's transition metal. So that cobalt has to have a charge, right? We're going to use that stock system, remember? The Roman numerals. So what do? What's the charge of this cobalt to cancel out a 3-? It's got to be a 3+. So this is cobalt 3 phosphate. If I go to nickel 2, why is it nickel 2? They're telling me that this transition metal has a 2+ charge. I go to sulfate, sulfur and oxygen. It's one of the 5 big non-metal 8s. It's actually on the 4, so it has 4. It has a 2-. I don't need a crisscross. These are equivalent charges. It's a 1-to-1 mole ratio, so I just do that. What I don't want to do is this, because again, with ionic compounds, you kind of have to remember that it's the empirical formula. I go here. This is my sodium ion. How do I name this? Is that chlorate? Well, again, for chlorate, we know it's chlorine and a certain number of oxygen. It's going to be 3 or 4. So I don't think this is chlorate, but we got to see if chlorate has 4, because then the 2 would be 2 less, or if it's 3, because then the 2 would only be 1 less. If you look, the chlorine is not on that 4 on the periodic table that I told you. So chlorate is 3. So if there's 2 oxygen, it's 1 less than chlorate. So this is sodium chloride. So that is the lecture for polyatomic ions. I recommend using that trick, using the 4 on the periodic table. That will help you build a technique to memorize these polyatomic ions. And again, with practice and fluency, you'll begin to learn all of these. So thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next lecture.